All right, that brings us to the main event, an event that, of course, everyone, at least the champion, hopes will wind up exactly as it did the last time. And the challenger, well, he's looking to prove a point, one that he couldn't make under any circumstances 2 years ago.
Mustafa Hamsho, the first time I fought you, I ripped you apart.
Uppercut scores by Marvin Hagler, and another right hand to the face, and the eyes continue to bleed as Mustafa Hamsho.
I just want to show to the people like how tough I am. It never hurt me.
Don't look there, look at me! If you want me to stop, I don't stop. You want me to stop it, but the goddamn it to win.
And another right hand, and yet another. Combinations of punches by the champion. Tries to go downstairs, comes up the right hand, steps the head back.
I never liked the guy before, and I still don't like him. By him learning how to speak English better, he's only putting his foot in his mouth. Because the more he talks, the more I'm willing to give him a smack.
Last fight, Hagler, he don't beat me. I beat myself, you know. Because when I fought him first time, I fought Hagler's fight. This time it's going to be different.
Hamsho is against the ropes, takes another right hand, and an uppercut. Hamsho's corner is out, and Marvin Hagler is retained as undisputed middleweight championship of the world.
And now, after 3 long years, the rematch. It is a city which has always symbolized hope and prosperity in a free world, the heartbeat of international trade, and throughout history, the most prestigious arena for boxing's brightest stars. That tradition continues as live from Madison Square Garden in New York City, HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing. And now the main event, the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, takes on #1 contender Mustafa Hamsho in a scheduled 15-round title fight. The excitement beginning to build as this historic landmark of boxing's illustrious past counts down the minutes to yet another championship fight. I'm Barry Tompkins with Ray Leonard and Larry Merchant. We're at the Garden, and we're looking forward to a replay of a fight really that was so lopsided in Chicago a couple of years ago, that between Marvelous Marvin Hagler, the middleweight champion of the world, and Mustafa Hamsho. Now, Ray, they tell us we're going to see a different Mustafa Hamsho this year, but can the Leopard change his spots?
I want to see that. I doubt very seriously, Barry, but they can add on. He can become more defensive and not remain a stationary target.
Marvin Hagler, of course, loves a guy who comes right at him, and that's exactly what Hamsho did the last time. But your feeling really is that we're going to see pretty much the same fight.
The same. It will be pretty much a replay, but we may see a much more aggressive and tougher Hamsho.
People are saying that Marvin Hagler has lost a little bit. What do you think?
I doubt very seriously. This man sitting here, Thomas Hearns, Hagler wants him. He's going to look good.
Well, over the years, we've gotten to know Marvelous Marvin Hagler here on HBO, but, you know, he's really a part of a team that started with a dream of 2 brothers back in Brockton, Massachusetts.
The modern athlete needs support. Professional football, baseball, and basketball players have well-dressed agents and a bevy of specialized coaches. But since the days of John L. Sullivan, boxing has remained an art whose skills are steeped in old, sweaty gyms. There are no 3-piece suits at the negotiating table and no computerized scouting reports. Only everyday people, the trainer and manager. Through years of loyalty and dedication, they dream of molding a champion. Brothers Pat and Goody Petronelli grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. In the early 60s, after serving in the military, they decided to turn a love for boxing into their livelihood. They had hoped another native of Brockton would join them.
Brother Pat and I are going to open up a gym in Brockton. I said, go in construction and open up a gym. He says, how about me going in with you? I said, man, I said, love that. That'd be great, Rocky.
And we had a lot of beautiful ideas about running this huge gymnasium in Brockton called the Marciano Gym. Well, then, as you know the story, he got in that accident, he got killed. Then my brother and I went it without him.
So the old Petronelli Gym was born. A healthy stable of fighters came and went. But then a quiet teenager from the ghettos of Newark arrived.
I'm there working with the fighters as generally do, and he just sat there. Came in the next day, he sat down, he was watching. So I was in the ring one day, and I just looked over at him. I said, hey, kid, you want to learn how to fight?
And all I needed was a good teacher and somebody to show me what to do with these, you know.
And he did his homework well. He really did. What I taught him in there, he'd come back in again. It seemed like he picked up a lot quicker than the other kids.
His mind is made up what he wants to be. He'd get in the back room and he'd sign little autographs from the future middleweight champion of the world. And it's signed it. It's a kid, 16-year-old kid.
In 1980, that dream came true as Marvelous Marvin Hagler savagely beat middleweight champion Alan Minter. Goody, the trainer, and Pat, the manager, had a world champion. The Triangle, as they like to be called, had tougher decisions ahead. It's tough to win the title, tougher still to hold it. Think of the trainer as a head coach. He runs a fighter through conditioning programs and strategy sessions.
You can't learn from hitting any bag gloves. It's the same thing as just punching a bag where a bag don't hit back. This guy's got regular gloves on just like myself.
I pick out these so-called weak points and strong points, and I train Marvin specifically for it. The guy may be a hooker, or he may be through overhand rights, whatever. We train for these particular fighters. How to counter these different punches, how to slip these different punches, and I think that's important. I'm coming at you this way. Bring him up in time.
He gets his body and his mind in the same condition, the same way that I do. He psychs himself up for this fighter the same way that I do. When I don't like Mustafa Hamsho, he don't like Mustafa Hamsho. When I'm running, he's running just as hard as I am. And there's one thing that's great to his advantage is that I can't cheat if he's there with me. And in order to make it, you're going to have to go through these brick walls. You're going to have to learn. You have to get knocked down in order to learn how to get back up and to keep striving.
On the night of a fight, both men work the critical fourth minute of the round. The corner work can win or lose a fight.
What he's doing. He's trying to throw that straight right hand, okay? So when you throw that jab, when he bends over, come up with that uppercut.
But if I'm making a mistake, I know that I have the confidence that he's going to point it out to me.
Now, don't get him slugging punch. Just beat him to the punch. Double up the jab. Quick punch. That's all I want you to do.
I don't have to holler at him or slap his face like a lot of guys do, because we don't need this here. We're well organized in the corner because we're prepared.
Don't get too discouraged now, Marvin. Uppercuts will work good on this guy, Marvin. You're slipping your hooks. Hold the uppercut. Get that snapping speed going now.
When Marvin's fighting in the ring, my brother and I lean over. Two heads are better than one. He'll say, Pat, what do you think? And I'll say, geez, I think this and that. And when he comes back to that corner, I tell you, he gets the right answers.
So far, that success has been to the tune of about $15 million in 9 title defenses. But it should be noted that all has not been rosy. Lawyer Steve Wainwright was axed from the camp and subsequently sued the Petronellis for damages. Pat gives this advice to other camps.
Your fighter has to have faith in his people, not be suspicious of his people, 100% faith, and he's got to give you 100%, and you have to give your fighter 100%.
I'm able to open up to them, and they're still very honest to me. And I love them, like a father. And I think that I asked them just one thing, and that's not to hurt me, and not to give me any promises. You just open up the door, let me do it myself.
Every athlete needs good coaching. The accomplishments of Marvelous Marvin Hagler would not have surfaced without these two very special brothers.
Our lifestyle hasn't changed all that much. It's a dream that come true, and we're happy with it. And we have our dreams.
To this day, I enjoy what I'm doing. With this triangle, we have faith in each other all the way. We still have faith in each other. So Marvin is doing fine, and we'll still be together. And like we started, we're friends then, we're friends afterwards, and we have a nice team.
What is so beautiful about this family is that success does not spoil the bonds of friendship and love. Pat and Goody Petronelli should remain the trustworthy mentors of a very gifted athlete. This chain may never break, and all three can boast of a stake in that glorious word, champion. So an interesting look at Team Hagler, and coming up, the championship for the middleweight title between Marvelous Marvin Hagler and the challenger, Mustafa Hamsho. He lost it the last time. He hopes for better this time. But as always, we get a unique look at just about every championship fight we do here on HBO. It comes from none other than our resident maven, Larry Merchant. Larry?
Marvin Hagler has a dilemma, but it's a positive dilemma. He always has to prove himself. And he's used that, despite the fact that he's rich and famous and a champion, to keep the fire in his belly burning. When he was a contender, they said he wouldn't be box office. Wrong. When he was a champion, they said he couldn't handle pressure. Wrong. And Mustafa Hamsho has the scars to prove it. Then it was said that he dominated the middleweight division so much that it was bad for boxing. Wrong. Can you imagine what that division would have been like in recent years without him? And now they're saying that he's in decline. He's gone from invincibility to vulnerability. And that's what we're here to find out tonight, whether that's wrong. If indeed he doesn't fight as fiercely as he looks anymore, we might have a fight tonight. Because Mustafa Hamsho has traveled a long, hard road to get back in the ring with a guy who gave him a terrible beating. Either he's crazy or dangerous.
Only in America could such a dream come true. 10 years ago, Mustafa Hamsho made his way to the United States with only one thing in mind: to be champion of the world. He left his home in Latika, Syria, and worked on a Greek cargo ship at this dock in Brooklyn, New York. One day, with only $20 in his pocket and unable to speak a word of English, he left the ship and never returned.
First few months I get lost, you know. A big city like that, I come from a small town to be up to New York is a very big step for me.
He soon found his way to Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, to an area rich in Arabic flavor.
I walk every day from here to Atlantic Avenue. I met a lot of guys. I met Sammy, he's my best friend now. I call him cousin.
Sammy turned out to be much more than Mustafa's first true friend in America. It was he who steered Mustafa to the Gramercy Park gym to pursue his boxing career. This was where he met Patty Flood, a robust character who had spent a lifetime in boxing, hoping one day to develop his own champion. Like father and son, the two bonded together almost as one.
I tell you, like a family. Me and him was like a family. I go eat in his house. I call his wife mother. I call his daughter sister. You know, like we was like really family with me and him, like father and son, or two brother or older brother.
The two spent so much time together that sometimes Mustafa's love for the old country would almost drive Patty crazy.
Every time we go in the car, I just put my music tape, and he starts singing Arabic. So he said, hey, he starts calling off, cursing me, and he says, stop the car when I work. So when I joke with him, I put the music on, and I put it loud, you know, he go crazy.
In 1981, after 6 years together, Patty and Mustafa were on the verge of reaching their long-shared goal, a shot at the championship of the world.
For the undisputed World's Middleweight Championship, Mustafa Hamsho. His opponent, the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvin Hagler.
Hagler is really being like a surgeon, and Hamsho has taken it all. And Hamsho still does not appear to be hurt. He has taken an awful lot of punishment from the champion.
No, don't stop it. Then you go and knock him out this round, and I'm going to stop it. No.
Very, very damaging round. Hamsho's corner is up, and they're saying, that's it, that's all. Braverman is saying, stop it. The referee does so. The fight is over, and Marvin Hagler has retained his undisputed middleweight championship of the world.
Mustafa may have lost the fight in the ring, but in his heart was more than a winner. Although Hagler left Hamsho in need of 55 stitches, the proud Syrian never took a step backward. But a year and a half later, Mustafa was dealt the worst blow of his life. Patty Flood, his confidant, died of a stroke at the age of 48. Mustafa was devastated.
When I first get the call about him, you know, I can't believe it, you know, because I think a couple hours before I was talking to him. We laugh, we make fun about Larry Holm. He was, when he fought the Italian guy, and Flood, he makes jokes about everything. So I was in my house, and his wife, she called me, you know. My legs give up, and I go to the hospital. I don't want to remember the way I saw him, you know.
4 months later, Mustafa beat Wilfred Benitez with Patty's initials inscribed on his trunks. He had returned to boxing not only for a dream that began on a Greek ship years ago, but in memory of his dearest friend, Patty Flood.
Sure, I wish, but it's really a dream between me and him, both of us, to be there when he wins the championship. Because when I fought him first time, I fought hard as fighting. This time it's going to be different, and Patty will be in my corner till I quit, I think, till I be retired from boxing. You can't believe 10 years ago, I was painted and clean the sheep, and today where I am, you know. Living in America is great, you know.
For Mustafa Hamsho, America's the only place where such a dream could come true. A young Syrian's quest, which began years ago on this very dock, may finally become reality. A reality that lies just a few miles away.
And here is that reality as Mustafa Hamsho makes his way out of his dressing room and toward the ring here at Madison Square Garden. This crowd at the Garden, really a vintage kind of crowd. They react positively, negatively. They love it if you do a good job, if you put on a good performance, as did both the combatants in the fight that you saw a few moments ago, Sean Mannion and the new champion, Mike McCallum. And they hate it if you dog it. Well, this man, you know, is not going to dog it. Last time he said simply, Hagler didn't beat me, I beat myself. He said, I wanted to show the people how tough I was, and he cut me up. We've talked on numerous occasions now about, are we going to see a different Mustafa Hamsho? General consensus of opinion is no, unless, of course, you ask the people who are closest to him. They said he held his head too high last time. Now he's burying his head more. He's bobbing more. He's weaving more. He'll throw more hooks. He never did that before. Well, here he comes, draped in the Syrian flag into the ring. Mustafa Hamsho's record, 38, the 2 losses. He has 2 draws, 23 knockouts. He'll be in Marvin Hagler's face, no question about that. Since the loss to Marvin Hagler, he's won 6 straight. He beat Curtis Parker, beat Gil Rosario on 2 occasions, beat Bobby Chaz. That was a good win for him. Handled Wilfred Benitez, and in a tune-up fight, he beat Rocky Shakespeare. So he's on a roll.
Well, he looks psyched up to me. I think he's really motivated. He wants to win, and win bad, Barry.
And as is marvelous Marvin Hagler's want, he will let his man stay in the ring a little bit and just think about it. Larry, what do you think about his victories over Chaz and Benitez? Is it a new fighter that we're seeing?
It's hard to say. He just overpowered those fighters. The way he overpowered Benitez shocked a lot of people. And it indicated that he is the worthy #1 contender. A lot of guys lose a fight. They want to come back 6 months, 8 months later and fight the guy. But this guy did it the hard way. He went out there. He fought for 3 years. He's a real professional. You have to admire that in him. He's fighting for the biggest purse of his life tonight, $450,000. And he's using just about everything he can to get himself inspired. He's got the flag of his country. He's wearing a robe made by the wife of the late Patty Flood, who was his manager.
He said, in fact, when he beat Benitez, that Patty Flood was with him. He said, I saw him in front of me. He was pushing me. He was saying, don't let him out of the corner. Keep your punches down. Punch to the body. Well, that's what he did, and he won. Now, whether or not he can do that against marvelous Marvin Hagler tonight remains to be seen. It wasn't just a victory for Marvin Hagler the last time these two saw each other in Chicago. It was a slaughter, and I think that's a fair way to describe it. Hamsho had not won a round on any of the judges' cards. We talked about the 55 stitches. It was just a completely one-sided fight.
Yeah, I think we ought to remember that the conventional wisdom at the time was that Hagler couldn't handle pressure because of his fight with Vito Antuofermo, in which there was a draw. And he was advised to go straight at Hagler. Now, perhaps he won't be that reckless and that foolish as much tonight, but it remains to be seen if he has any other weapons, if he doesn't have to fight the best way he can, and what got him here, which is that kind of pressure or tactics.
And marvelous Marvin Hagler comes under the HBO Sports banner and makes his way toward the ring. You saw 34 victories in a row for Marvin Hagler since way back in 1976. Give you a couple of names that will be trivia questions at some point in time. Boogaloo Watts and Willie the Worm Monroe. Those are the only 2 people to beat Marvin Hagler.
A couple of tough Philadelphia guys in Philadelphia. And later, Marvin Hagler reversed those decisions with knockouts.
And they came within 2 months of one another. Boogaloo Watts winning in January, and then Willie Monroe winning in March. since that time, he's unscathed. This, the 10th title defense. There are the numbers on Marvelous Marvin Hagler. 49 knockouts, even though he doesn't really consider himself a knockout puncher. Right now, we'll look at the tail of the tape and see how these two match up against one another, as Hagler, one thing, always comes into the ring very warm. That's something that Sugar Ray Leonard has talked about on numerous occasions here. Here's a look at how they match up, and they match up remarkably comparably. Statistically. And that, of course, may be the key point of this entire evening. So it's Marvelous Marvin Hagler against Mustafa Hamsho. Here's a look at the opponents who they have faced in common, and the results are also pretty much in common. Alan Minter, of course, Marvelous Marvin Hagler won his fight with Alan Minter to win the title. He beat Wilfred Scipion. Hamsho won over Scipion on a disqualification. Right now, we'll go to the ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight festivities. Michael?
Please remain standing, ladies and gentlemen, as James Williams from D-Train sings America the Beautiful. Harold Letterman from New York and Vinnie Rainoni from New Jersey. Two physicians at ringside are Dr. Earl Slaw and Dr. William Latham. The timekeeper is Freddie Albatello, and counting for the knockdown seconds, Tony Perez. The referee for this championship bout is Arthur Mercanti from New York. But now let's get ready to rumble. This is it. 15 rounds for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Introducing first in the red corner. He's wearing green trunks and weighs 159.5 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one. 38 victories, only 2 losses and 2 draws. 23 by knockout. He's formerly from Syria and now from Brooklyn, New York. The #1 contender in the world, Mustafa Hamsho. Wearing blue trunks at 159.5 pounds. His record, 59 victories, only 2 losses and 2 draws. 49 by knockout from Brockton, Massachusetts. The undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Arthur Mercanti, the referee, with the instructions.
Good evening, Marvin and Hamsho. You both received instructions early in the season We expect you to obey these instructions, and I will be here to enforce them. Shake hands now. Return to your corners to await the starting bell. Good luck.
And as is the custom with Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he does not shake hands. He says, I only have one thing in mind when I get out there. He says, get him the hell out of there and then shake hands. Here's a look at Mustafa Hamsho. He looks businesslike. He was staring at Marvin Hagler during the pre-fight ceremonies, which here everyone hopes went longer than the fight will.
There will not be a feeling out process. Quite naturally, Hamsho's going to go straight for Marvin and try to go to work.
Hamsho's tough, no question about it. And this fight will be a good indication as to whether or not Marvelous Marvin Hagler has slipped at all.
That was a good right hook by Hamsho that landed. It was a pretty good punch, too.
Hamsho bedecked in green trunks. On one leg it says Mustafa Hamsho, on the other Patty Flood. They were inseparable. I mentioned earlier that Marvelous Marvin Hagler in that first fight did not lose a round. So right from the opening bell, he took charge.
Well, right from the very beginning, he dictated the pace of the fight. But here, I think he really wants to feel his man out and see a weakness.
And Hagler looks at Arthur Mercanti for help as he was complaining that Hamsho held him.
Hagler has to be very careful, Barry, as far as headbutts. Although it's not intentional, it's just the way that Hamsho, his style is.
Yeah, that is one thing to keep in mind. Even though Mustafa Hamsho had 55 stitches from cuts inflicted by Marvelous Marvin Hagler in that first fight in Chicago, Hagler himself was cut from a butt in the first round.
You know, there was a big question whether or not Hamsho could change his style. And he is. And what I see, he's moving his head. He's not being a stationary target.
Well, that's what they said, that he bobbed and weaved a lot more now, and he will throw hooks, which he didn't throw too many of in the past.
I think what Hamsho's driving force is not only just to win the title, but to do it for Patty Flood, who he loved dearly.
Butts really could be a factor in this fight. And with these two styles, contrasting though they are, they really do become that much more conceivable.
If I'm not mistaken, Bert, it seems to be a trickle of blood already on the left eyebrow of Mustafa Hamsho.
So we will watch that. And there is a little bit of blood. At least it shows actually on the belt of the trunks of Marvin Hagler. And there, Hagler is saying was a butt.
They just collided with heads.
We'll try to watch that if we can.
And Hagler's starting to get really frustrated because he felt that it was intentional.
Hagler talking to his man, telling him, come on. And there is blood. It appears to be above the left eye. Right in about the brow, alongside the bridge of the nose.
That was a beautiful right hook once again by Hamsho.
And Hagler covers up.
Watch the head.
And Hagler tells Arthur Mercanti that again.
That was the intentional headbutt by Hamsho.
And Arthur Mercanti steps in there.
We know that Hamsho already has a cut over his brow. This fight could come down to a question of how much blood the referee, Arthur Mercanti, could stand. I actually gave that round to Hamsho. He was more deliberate than we've seen in the past. He showed more movement. Here he comes in, and there you see the butt in which he's led with his head. And Hagler was very upset. There it is. He led with his head. He did not cut Hagler. He is being more deliberate. And Hagler's anger got the best of him in that round. He seemed frustrated. He seemed a little bit surprised by the way Hamsho fought him. Round two.
A lot of fireworks in that first round.
You may see a lot more movement from Marvin. Well, you say, put it this way, you should. Have to stay on his toes and give this man a lot of lateral movement. Keep him in the center of the ring and not let Hamsho get him against the ropes nor the corner.
Hamsho cut above the brow, on the brow actually, over the left eye. So we will keep an eye on that.
Look at Hamsho move his head. Now that definitely is a big change in Mustafa Hamsho. He is giving Hagler a lot of more movement from the head. He's not a stationary target anymore.
And Hagler going with the jab and a quick right hand behind that left jab. Very quick combination by Hagler.
So what you see, Barry, they have not changed the style of Mustafa. Just added on.
Going side to side a little bit more. Bobbing, weaving. 1 minute into the second round. And once more, Hamsho opens up on Hagler, but Hagler a counter-punching right hand.
What also may be a factor in this fight, Mustafa Hamsho had to pull off a little more than half a pound, and it may take his toll.
Pretty nasty bleeding right now from that cut over the eye, and it isn't a place where it could really affect him. The blood coming down alongside the bridge of the nose, it not yet is getting in Hamsho's eye, but it is that type of cut, and it could really be a factor in this fight. I believe that that is the same cut from the first round. I don't think he was cut any more than that.
Watch your heads!
Marvin must be extra careful of the tactics of Mustafa Hamsho.
And Mercanti once more said to Hamsho, watch your head.
Watch the shoulders, watch the head. Hagler must be extra careful.
Remember the fight with Vito Antifermo? There was a butt in the first round that opened up a big cut on Marvelous Marvin Hagler. There was a butt in the first round of this fight too. It did not open a cut. The only blood right now showing from the left eye of Mustafa Hamsho. That's a good right hand by Hamsho.
Mustafa Hamsho uses his shoulders very well. He has that chin underneath his shoulders. Has very broad shoulders.
In between rounds, we will look into the corner of Mustafa Hamsho, and we will try to check on that cut. Hamsho took a good right hand that stopped him in his tracks.
That right hand knocks a lot of fighters out. A clean right hand. Just stopped Hamsho momentarily, and he leaped right back to the attack.
Yes, I got it. Don't worry. I'll hold you back. Stay here.
The question is whether Hamsho can fight effectively in this style. He obviously is not getting hit as much as he was in the first fight. And there's that right hand. A clean punch.
Tommy Hearns, incidentally, sitting right directly behind us here, talking with some of his cohorts, saying, I got my fingers crossed. There's no question as to who he's rooting for. This is the third round. Hamsho fighting with his elbows and his head. And that was just out and out a butt.
Hagler can't lose his composure, Barry. He must stay relaxed, stay calm. I think this is what Hamsho had to do. Just get upset. Just run in.
Hagler flicking that right hand into the face. A good combination, stunned Hamsho once more. A left and a right hand right behind it.
Stop holding, Hamsho.
Hagler does not need to load up. That right jab of his is so effective, and it's going to enable him to throw a lot of combinations without being susceptible to being hit by the head.
And every time Hamsho lowers his head, Hagler takes a half step back. Hagler getting off faster than Hamsho, no question about that. And another good combination, and Hamsho is down.
Beautiful combination. Now you're going to see marvelous Marvin Hagler go to work.
He has a great killer instinct. He started with a right hand, and Hamsho holds on once more. Uppercut and a left hand. Hagler not wasting any punches here. Hamsho right at the moment fighting on instinct. Crowd on its feet at the Garden. Inside 1 minute remaining.
He's ready to go. He's ready to go.
Hamsho is out on his feet. Hagler should be able to finish him off. Time, no factor. McCarthy says, don't push. There's a right hand. Hamsho is down. He will not get up. This one is all over. A stunning performance by marvelous Marvin Hagler. Well, that's going to make people sit up and take notice, I think, Ray.
Oh, for sure. I think Hagler just did a great job in doing away with Mustafa Hamsho.
He was very sharp. I think the last time these two fought, we had said that that was as good a performance as we'd seen of Marvin Hagler. However, at that time, Hamsho's style was made to order for Hagler. Tonight, Hamsho tried to do something a little bit different. And I'll bet here that marvelous Marvin Hagler didn't miss but 10 punches in this fight.
Well, the right hook was what did the damage. In fact, he sent Hamsho to the canvas, and he took his time. I was impressed with the fact Hagler took his time. And here, Hamsho is just on Queer Street. His legs are not steady, and just Hagler just put a barrage of punches together and put Hamsho down for good.
And didn't miss any punches, and that really is the key.
His punches were very accurate, Barry. He just took his time, and he was very frustrated and angry at first. That right hook there was the final punch and the end of the fight. But frustration was in Hagler's face for a long time because Hamsho did a lot of things.
I think Hagler was very concerned, as a matter of fact, about a butt, because that, of course, can turn a fight. And Hagler looking down at Tommy Hearns, who sits behind us here. Pat Petronelli pointing to Hearns. Hearns got to be a happy man. He wants to be pointed to at this point.
And this is what the public wants. This is a natural fight, a big fight. It's a happening. It's an event.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler, absolutely a fine performance. We keep referring to him as Marvelous Marvin Hagler. We want you to know that is his given name. He had it changed. Ergo, it is Marvelous Marvin, not just simply Marvin. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Mike Buffer. He has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 2:31 of the third round. The referee stops the bout. The winner by technical knockout, still undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
So you heard it, and it was tremendously an impressive performance. And Larry Merchant trying to get in position to talk with the winner, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And let's go to Larry Merchant right now.
Marvin, it looks like you came into this fight really angry for the first time in some time.
Yeah, that was true. But first of all, I want to say happy birthday to my grandmother, Bessie Hagler, and also to all my sparring partners who helped me to get in tip-top shape for this fight. Everything was on the money tonight. I knew it was a matter of time. Coming back, I put on more weight. You know, like I was too light the last time. But this time I had the punching power. Oh yeah, getting better. Give me Tommy Hearns.
What happened when he butted you, Marvin?
Excuse me?
What happened when he butted you?
Well, you see him very dirty. It's very obvious. I see then there was no referee out there in this ring. So you want to play dirty? I play dirty.
You seemed even almost wild in your anxiety to hurt him.
Well, I stopped it, though. I cut it down and started putting things together, and I realized, let him off a little bit. He's got to leave him open. Let him get the crazy. Let him be the crazy one.
Wasn't he trying not to come in a straight line at you as he did in the first fight? He tried to be a little cute.
More bobbing and weaving, but he can't whoop Marvelous Marvin Hagler. That's it. Nobody can whoop me. I'm the best. They won't give me the credit, not even you. But I'm the best. I'm waiting one day to hear you say that I am the greatest. I'm waiting.
We're going to take a look at the second knockdown, Marvin. Describe it for us.
Well, I was a little wild, like you said. I had to settle down. I tried to put the combinations together. Nice. Nice uppercut. Didn't just matter of just putting the punches. I had so much more combinations, and we was planning on using.
Here it comes again.
This is one of the punches that I worked on in training camp here, because he drops his right hand there a little bit. And like I said, he's got a big heart. He's courageous. He came to fight, but he know he can't whoop no Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Did you want to put a show on here in your debut at Madison Square Garden?
My debut right here at Madison Square. This is the highlight of my career, and I'm glad that I done it right here at Madison Square Garden. I'm glad that what had happened was by me being exposed to the rest of the world and come here. New York was ready for me. They were ready. It's a good birthday present. Also, today is my manager, Goodies, and Petronelli's birthday also. And also my grandmother, Bessie Hagler.
What's the next fight?
Well, we don't know. We're taking one step at a time. But you know who we want. You know who the public want. You can ask them. I'm going to tell you, he better come and get me before I decide that I don't want him. Because money's not everything, and that's what I'm trying to say. I want to show my championship skill out here and show the people that I am a true champion. I hold all 3 belts, and I love to see all the championships be united.
Thanks so much, Marvin Hagler. I'll be back with a final comment in a moment, but now back to Barry and Ray.
All right, thank you very much, Larry Merchant. Incidentally, you saw a little head pop in behind Larry Merchant and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. That was the head of Vito Antuofermo. There is the head of Tommy Hearns. He's smiling with good reason, Ray.
Well, you're talking about a big fight, a fight that the public want to see. It's Thomas Hearns and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Barry. I mean, that's a natural fight. It's a big fight. It's an event, and I think people want to see that, especially now.
And they say, of course, that styles make fights. I think styles made this fight. It particularly made it, of course, for the winner, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. What will it do against Tommy Hearns?
Well, I tell you, it's going to be a strategic fight from both fighters, and the fact that Marvin now is so strong, and Tommy, he's developed into a middleweight, so it's an interesting matchup.
Well, a very, very impressive victory, I think it's fair to say, for Marvelous Marvin Hagler. We've seen him be sharp in the past. I don't believe we've ever seen him be as sharp as he was tonight. For some final words, then, let's go back out to the ring and Larry Merchant.
After seeing this fight tonight, I'm convinced that if Custer got a rematch of Little Bighorn, he'd have lost again. History is destiny, and there's just no way that Mustafa Hamsho has enough guns to beat a skilled, fierce, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Just a moment to tell you about the negotiations going on. According to promoter Bob Arum, they are close to making a fight between Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns. He says that the 2 fighters will share $10 million. The question is how they will share it. And once fighters start talking about money, you can expect that they will come to an agreement soon for a fight, probably next March. Barry?
Thank you, Larry, and it should be a tremendous fight. There's no question about that. You know, there's an interesting thing, too, in the way Marvelous Marvin Hagler handled himself tonight, too. We have talked about this on numerous occasions, Ray, but Marvin has sort of tried to reach out for success and pull success to him, and in the past, for some reason, he hasn't really been noted as being the great middleweight champion. Tonight, I did notice he was doing that, and I think people are starting to recognize him for his abilities in the boxing ring.
Well, I think what has been bothering Marvin for a long time is the fact that he wants the big recognition that I guess I've received and now Hearns has received. And in order to get that, I think a fight against those two will bring it out.
Well, Marvelous Marvin Hagler said a little bit earlier, he said New York was ready for Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Well, I think Marvelous Marvin Hagler was ready tonight for New York. It was a great victory for him. 3rd round knockout over a gutsy Mustafa Hamsho. Be sure to join us for our next presentation of World Championship Boxing as the heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes, defends his crown against James Bone Crusher Smith. That'll be live on Friday night, November 9th, right here on HBO.